line and speak to a member of the committee, Member of Parliament for South Dine, Roxanne Nelson Eche Dafeamekpo. Good evening to you, Council. Very grateful for your time tonight on 505.
Thank you very much. Privileged to join you, Valentina.
So now the minority say that the chairman is shielding the nominees from us answering pertinent questions because he says that first was the deliberate refusal of the chairman to invite questions on the CVs of the nominees that have been submitted. Also, the chairman deliberately delayed in submitting to the committee members the CVs of the persons who are supposed to be vetted so they do due diligence and background check on them. Was that a plan the majority adopted?
Thank you very much. Valentina.
Honorable.
Just 2 or 3 months ago, the outgone government communicated with Parliament. What was the communication? It was for Parliament to approve the nomination of Honorable Herbert Kappa as a Minister of State at the Ministry of Energy. The reason given was that the then Minister for Energy, Honorable Matthew Poku had resigned because he had been appointed as or nominated as to be a running mate to the then flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Mawumia. Valentina, the MPP brought the communication to Parliament on Friday, late afternoon. They asked Parliament to vet Krapper the next day, Saturday. Not 3 years ago, not 10 years ago, about 3 months ago, sometime in October or November. Nobody got opportunity to vet Krapper's CV. But we did it for them because the president expressed the point that it was urgent that he needed somebody to man the ministry. Today, Gideon Bwaku says what? Is he even a member of the appointment committee? He's not a member. He had opportunity to ask questions because the chairman permitted him. The appointment committee is made up of standing members, 12, and then the other members of the appointment committee come there on rotational basis, depending on the subject matter in respect of the nominee who address. So Gideon Bwaku, who is speaking to this matter, I am minded to ask of his locus. He is not a member, and he also didn't come there as a member of or as part of a leadership of any committee in Parliament. So what exactly is Gideon Bwaku speaking to? He is demonstrating a certain lack of understanding of the rules and procedures in Parliament. He is new. He should take his time and learn. This is not government policy. This is parliamentary procedure. So you must be careful. In any case, the chairman gave him opportunity to ask questions. And he got the opportunity to ask questions. If you decided to ask questions other than what you think was required, you cannot blame the chairman. Chairman went out of his way to ask you to ask the question, but you had one opportunity. So ask the most relevant question you thought was necessary. And he did. I was sitting there. He asked the question. Indeed, the NDC membership is rather criticizing the chairman of the appointment committee because they are of the opinion that he rather allow the minority group to run roughshod over him, a position that we spent yesterday and today defending and trying to explain how the appointment committee works and how proceedings in Parliament are. So if the NPP is rather holding a press conference and now raising this matter, Well, they're only telling the NDC and the chairman of the appointment committee to apply the rules. And in applying the rules family, non-members will no longer have opportunity to ask questions. And even members will be limited to the number of questions that the chairman will decide that they will ask. That is the rule, and I think that's what we must apply.
So if that is the rule, why then did the chairman allow non-members to ask questions which is contrary to your own rules?
Yes, you see, Parliament is a master of its own rules. The chairman and leadership of the committee, ranking, deputy ranking, and vice chair, thought that being new members in Parliament and being new on committee proceedings, those members who are yet to belong to any committee to have the opportunity to be able to ask those questions as a way of apprenticeship, warming themselves and learning the ropes. This was the wisdom behind chairman allowing those new members on the committee and those new members of Parliament on the part of the minority who had come, as it were, as a friend, to be able to have the opportunity to pose those questions. So they should rather be grateful to the chairman and not to vilify him.
Now, it's not only Gideon Boako who spoke about the activities of the Appointment or Vetting Committee of Parliament. Former leader Osaiche Mensa also had something to say today on Wontumi TV. He says that what happened was not according to the parliamentary rules and proceedings, because again, there's supposed to be a number of days advertisement in the dailies inviting people to submit certain questions or documents to the nominees that are supposed to be vetted by the Parliament's Appointment Committee. That was not done. He also talked about the fact that certain committees have to be put in place so that depending on the nominee that appears before the committee, you can invite chairman, vice chairman, ranking, and some members of the committees to join. For instance, Dr. Kesalato Forcing, finance minister designate. You needed the chairman, vice chair, ranking, deputy ranking on the finance committee. Same as John Jinapo for energy, and also Dr. Dominic Akwarintinga Anyini for attorney general. You needed constitutional, legal, parliamentary affairs. All those committee members to come in and ask questions just as the new standing orders of parliament says. But these committees are not in place. So the action that took place in Parliament on Monday is unconstitutional.
Okay, thank you very much. The Honorable Kyei Mensa, my respected former leader of Parliament, got it wrong. There's an appointment committee has properly been constituted. That is why the minority leader, the Honorable Afenyo, and the deputy minority leader, the Honorable Appiaje, are ranking and deputy ranking respectively. They have 4 other members, standing members.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the issue regarding representation from those other subject matter committees,
mm-hmm.
Parliament, as a master of its own rules, decided that in lieu of the subsistence of those committees, that the caucuses should respectively select people. That is why, for instance, I was represented on the committee. That is why my caucus chose me to participate in the proceedings. So it is not accurate that what happened didn't happen in accordance with the standing orders of committee and didn't happen in accordance with the constitution, and therefore it was unconstitutional. That is totally wrong. Second, you heard him say that some leadership of some committees ought to have been represented. That is the reason why when the NPP had the opportunity to name its membership, they decided to bring new faces. It is on this grounds that the chairman allowed those new faces to have the opportunity to pose questions. And they were posing questions that were not relevant to the issues at hand at the time.
Really?
So if you were given opportunity to ask relevant questions, and you decided to go to town to go and ask a nominee about his house address, how is that relevant to the competencies that he brings to that will bring to his office? So they missed the opportunity. They were given the opportunity. They decided to do something else. So they cannot have they cannot eat their cake and still want to have it.
So if you say the rules are going to be applied, are we going to see all these friends of the committee come back to the committee vetting that of these minister designates for the various regions and also ask questions, or they won't be part?
Valentina, if you came as a friend yesterday and I gave you opportunity to ask questions and you flapped it, yet you go to the media and be practically telling untruths, then I must as well apply the rule and say that once you are not a member of the committee, you have no say. You can come and observe as a friend, which happened to me many times in the past. Joe Oseiwusu, the former chairman of the committee, will never allow me to ask questions because he will tell me that you are not a member of the committee, so you have no locus to ask a question. He will be looking into your face and he will gloss over you. There's nothing you can do because that's the rule. So I believe that going forward, I will urge my first deputy speaker, who doubles as chairman of the committee, to also apply the rule strictly. If you are not a member, you don't ask questions. Even as members, you have a certain number of questions you are entitled to. Once you are, it's the turn of the next person. So that all these matters, nobody will go to town tomorrow and be criticizing him unnecessarily.
Council, very grateful. But before I let you go, let's talk about some legal issues that the minority raised, especially on the formation or the mandate of the Operation Recover or Loot, oral. This question came when the Attorney General designate was being vetted. Again, the deputy minority leader held a press conference somewhere last week, raising questions about oral. Afenyo, the minority leader, has had several occasions, even on the floor of Parliament, to complain about this oral. Today, they say that any member of the former administration who is invited by the oral should not honor this invitation because oral is an illegality. Is it an illegality?
It doesn't lie in the mouth of it to say that oral is an illegality. In any case, it's a government policy, and the government has the power. Executive government has the power to formulate policies that it thinks will help it to carry out its mandate. Now, let me ask you this: the NPP in 2017 introduced what is called free SHS, that is free senior high school education. As we speak, there's no law backing that policy. But they spent 8 years in office, spending in excess of 7 billion Ghana cedis on free SHS. It is not backed by any law. It was a government policy. So can we say that all our children who went through that system, and some are entering the university now, they went through an illegal system? Let me ask you again. Green Ghana as a policy introduced by the last government or the last administration, we've spent millions and millions of Ghana cedis, supposing that we are planting trees to as it were, populate the deforested areas in parts of this country. It wasn't backed by any law. But as a government policy, we've spent money on it. Can somebody say that is an illegality? Let me again ask you. The past government, the immediate past government, introduced some programs they call Operation Gallant Stop, Operation Vanguard, all those programs that went to Galamsey areas, seized equipment of Ghanaians because supposedly they were degrading the environment, and brought those equipment to Accra and sold to themselves. It wasn't backed by any law. And yet, people suffered the penalty as a result of implementation of those programs. Were they illegal? They were merely government policies, government programs that were implemented. So these people, sometimes when they speak, you are surprised by the logic that underpins some of the things that they say. But let me say this. If you read Article 41 of the Constitution, the citizen is enjoined to take steps to protect public property from dissipation. So if ORA is a program introduced by government and persons have been appointed to serve in that committee, and the essence of that committee is to ensure that property belonging to the state are being dissipated, that is a constitutional duty.
Okay. Honorable, thank you very much for your time. We are grateful that you join us on 505. That's the member.